When did Dollar General stop being cheap? Why is it even called Dollar General anymore? It's not even cheaper than Walmart anymore.
In today's America, many shoppers can't believe their eyes when they look at their receipt from Dollar General. The store once hailed as the last stronghold of low prices for working-class families. A box of coffee, a can of beans, a pack of instant noodles. Items that used to cost just a couple of bucks have nearly doubled in price. Not at Whole Foods, not at some upscale chain, but right here at Dollar General. So what's going on? And why is it all happening at once? The answer lies in President Trump's latest round of tariffs. What many are calling a shot at our enemies that ends up hitting our own wallets. In this video, we're breaking down 5 grocery items that have pushed American shoppers to the edge at Dollar General. If you still believe this is the last place where you can stretch your dollar, this list might make you think again. Number 1. Canned foods. In America, many families once had to carefully weigh their options between a can of beans and a can of soup. For a long time, Dollar General served as a kind of neutral ground. You could grab a few cans of budget soup, some beans, and a couple dollars worth of canned vegetables to stretch through the week when money was tight. Even shoppers used to buying at higher-end chains like Trader Joe's or Kroger began turning to Dollar General to cut costs. When even the more well-off are reluctantly accepting price hikes at DG, it's a clear sign that financial pressure has gone mainstream, and that Dollar General is no longer the saving grace it once was. According to a Retail Insight report from early July 2025, prices of canned foods at Dollar General, especially those imported from Canada, Europe, and Mexico, have surged by 90% to 100% compared to late last year. A can of sweet corn that once cost 89 cents is now nearly $1.79. A can of beef soup, popular among seniors during the colder months, jumped from $1.35 to nearly $2.69. These aren't just fluctuations. They're direct hits to the wallets of the most financially vulnerable Americans. The root cause. Not Dollar General itself, but the new tariff policies introduced by the Trump administration targeting imported goods. Canned products that rely on agricultural imports and metal packaging are now facing tariffs as high as 35%. As production and shipping costs balloon and Dollar General, without domestic supply chains, can't absorb the difference, the cost burden is passed directly to customers. The result, products that used to cost just a couple of bucks are now significantly more expensive. If you're a senior living on Social Security, your monthly grocery haul might now include only 10 to 12 cans, down from the 20 to 25 you used to afford. That means cutting meals, shrinking portions, or settling for meals that barely meet nutritional needs. Shoppers who once saw DG as a price-stable safe zone are now feeling overwhelmed, second-guessing every item they put in their cart. It's no longer just a feeling of having less money. It's the gut punch of being left behind by the very store that once had your back. Dollar General used to be the best friend of bargain shoppers, but since early 2025, as prices across the board have gone up, no one can walk in and fill a bag like they used to. For seniors especially, their shrinking purchasing power is barely enough to cover medication, let alone food. They can't afford to shrug off a small price increase when every single cent counts on a fixed income. Even worse, as bottled teas go up, as canned coffee climbs, canned foods were the one thing people could count on to keep their fridge stocked longer. But if that too becomes unaffordable, if people pause before grabbing a can of soup, that's a sign the dream of a resilient supply chain has completely collapsed. Yes, Dollar General continues to post higher revenues and better profits year over year. But the other side of that success, everyday shoppers are paying just a little more each week, while customer service and product variety remain limited. There are no special discounts or relief programs for low-income families, even as the cost of living spirals upward. That makes blind loyalty to the brand harder to justify. So if you're asking yourself, should I still trust this place that once helped me get by? Maybe it's time to ask another question. How long have you been holding on before admitting it's no longer working? If the rising receipt totals are just the signal, then the real alarm is emotional anxiety, discouragement, the loss of that financial safety feeling every time you remember when it can used to cost 89 cents. Have you compared the price of a canned good before and after the new tariffs? Do you feel like you're being forced to accept these increases without knowing exactly why? If so, share your story, because your experience might help someone else avoid the same trap. Number 2, packaged coffee. Packaged coffee has long been the go-to budget-friendly choice for mornings, especially for older folks or those working the night shift. At Dollar General, private labels like Clover Valley and DG Essentials used to offer ground or instant coffee for about $5 to $6 per 30-ounce container. But starting in March 2025, that story took a harsh turn. According to a March Reuters report, Arabica coffee bean prices surged 20 to 25% due to droughts in Brazil and Colombia. As a result, many U.S. roasters were forced to raise their retail prices. Dollar General wasn't the only one affected, but because the chain imports most of its coffee from countries now facing tariff, shelf prices at DG shot up fast. In Tennessee and Kentucky, some Dollar General locations reported the Coffeetown Cappuccino Mix jumping from $4.99 to $9.49. A nearly 90% hike in just 2 months. A 24 ounces bag of Clover Valley ground coffee went from $5.49 to $10.39. These aren't projections. They're actual figures pulled from checkout receipts. What's most frustrating is the customer reaction. People who used to rely on affordable coffee now find themselves having to do a wallet check before they can enjoy their morning brew. The sting comes from the fact that nothing else changed. You're still drinking the same coffee following the same routine, but suddenly, you're paying nearly double for it, and the quality hasn't improved. For older customers, coffee isn't just a drink, it's a daily ritual. When they find themselves hesitating before buying a new pack, it's not just a sign of financial strain. It's a quiet kind of frustration building day by day. Some stores have tried offering cheaper alternatives like coffee-flavored cereals or smaller packets. But many customers report that the flavor is off, the kick is gone. And what's worse, they often have to drink water for hours afterward just to shake the odd aftertaste. That never used to happen. Over 80% of Dollar General's consumer goods revenue comes from packaged items, and coffee is one of the most purchased among them. When a staple like coffee suddenly jumps in, price customers who once trusted DG are now switching to cheaper habits. Brewing tea instead or skipping caffeine altogether to save money for medication or hospital bills. Many longtime loyal shoppers say they used to love buying DG coffee for its value. But now even those who are better off financially are turning to other stores or ordering online. Paying extra for delivery, sometimes over $10, is now more tolerable than facing DG's price hikes. Some store clerks say the chain has started experimenting with a new house brand, Clover Valley Select, marketed at a slightly lower price point than imports. But customers report that the quality is noticeably worse, and most only buy it once. That sends a clear message: people feel they're being forced to choose between no coffee or bad coffee. If you drink coffee to stay awake to work, or just to enjoy a peaceful moment, maybe it's time to reflect. That cup might now come with a price tag that includes financial worry and the bitter realization that it's just not what it used to be. With no end to price hikes in sight, every bag of coffee becomes another painful compromise. Have you noticed your coffee receipts creeping up? Do you feel that stab of regret when you see the price has doubled, but the flavor hasn't changed, or has even gone downhill? Share your thoughts below. Your story could help someone else make a more informed choice. Number 3. Imported spices. Dollar General used to be the go-to place for affordable ground pepper, cinnamon, and chili powder, staples in any home kitchen. But since early 2025, as tariffs climbed and inflation surged, those once cheap imported spice jars have become a burden on every shopping cart. According to a July 2025 report by the market research group Food Price Watch, the price of a 2 ounces bag of imported ground black pepper, once sold for about $1.49, has now soared to $2.95, nearly a 98% increase in under 6 months. And that's not even counting cinnamon or nutmeg imported from countries like Indonesia or Sri Lanka. Spices that can't be grown domestically in the US, ground cinnamon, that used to cost $1.79, now hovers around $3.49 at many Dollar General stores. That kind of price jump is pushing middle-aged home cooks and SNAP recipients, those who budget down to the penny, to make hard choices, skip the spices, or skip the fresh vegetables to stay within budget. The reason is clear. Most imported spices at Dollar General come from countries like Vietnam, China, and Indonesia. When President Trump raised tariffs on agricultural imports from these nations, suppliers had no choice but to pass the extra cost down the line. A 35% tariff on items like pepper and cinnamon even forced some producers to switch to cheaper, lower-quality packaging. Less airtight containers that allow spices to lose their aroma faster, even though the price has doubled. The longer the goods sit in shipping warehouses, the more likely that signature bold flavor fades. Many customers now open their spice jars only to find dull scents or an off-putting plastic smell, far from the warm, spicy kick they used to expect. There's also a deeper story beneath the surface. Data from the American Nutrition Association shows nearly 42% of Americans over 50 say they can't smell their food properly before cooking. Still, they continue to buy spices because they represent the little rituals that make a home feel like home. So when that comforting aroma disappears, it's not just flavor that's lost. It's the erosion of trust passed down through generations. Some customers who used to spend $5 to $6 for premium pepper at high-end supermarkets switched to Dollar General to save money. But now that DG's prices no longer offer a clear advantage, many are returning to Kroger or Amazon Pantry, settling for smaller bottles with clear country of origin labels. That shift marks a quiet but significant departure, a loyal customer base forced to seek alternatives. Worse yet, it's not just about cost. According to discussions in online communities like Senior Savings, watch users are reporting that pepper flavor has weakened, the grind is inconsistent, and sometimes the jars contain dust or crushed bits. Some have even mentioned mild digestive issues, like bloating, after using just a pinch of low-quality pepper. For older adults prone to acid reflux, they rely on clean, high-quality spices that won't irritate their system. Dollar General built its reputation on simple, affordable staples. But with prices rising and quality slipping, more shoppers are starting to ask, are we now just paying for the label rather than the product we used to trust? If you still sprinkle black pepper into your soups or sauces each day, you may have noticed the difference. Even a single teaspoon, once a flavor booster, has become a disappointment. Have you noticed your favorite imported spice suddenly doubling in price? Do you have a pepper jar at home that you now realize is worth way more than it should be? Share your experience below. Chances are others in the community are feeling the same way. Number 4, frozen fruit juice. There's something unique about frozen fruit juice at Dollar General. It's not premium, it's not advertised on TV, but it's a quiet essential for millions of Americans, especially seniors and those living in remote areas. Week after week, they've relied on it for a modest boost of natural vitamin C. No explanation needed. People know exactly why they choose frozen juice. It's cheaper than fresh, lower in sugar than soda, and easy to store in the freezer. But that cheap price, just like that, has been taken away. According to regional pricing reports for South Central in July, frozen juices like Clover Valley 100%, orange juice concentrate or mixed berry, often sourced from Mexico or Chile, have jumped from $1.28 to $2.58 per unit. Larger 52 ounces cartons that once sold for $2.99 are now nearly impossible to find for under $5.99 in many Dollar General stores across Alabama, Arkansas, and Kentucky. At first glance, it might just earn a frown from most shoppers. But for those with underlying health conditions, elderly folks living on Social Security, or SNAP recipients, it's a blow that hits harder than any soundbite from the White House. Unlike milk or meat, items that trigger headlines when prices surge, juice is often underestimated in its nutritional value. But in reality, it acts like a daily vitamin shot for millions of people managing diabetes, high blood pressure, or simply trying to avoid chemicals in soda and bottled drinks. So why the sharp rise in price? Start with tariffs. Many frozen juices rely on fruit imported from Latin America or Canada. Sources now facing new import duties ranging from 18% to 27% under recent changes by the Trump administration, targeting processed agricultural products. That means for every box of juice brought into a distribution center, suppliers are paying nearly $1 more. And in a low-margin world like discount retail, that extra cost inevitably lands on the customer. Add to that the spike in refrigerated transport costs. Frozen items need freezer trucks, freezer storage, and come with shorter shelf lives. Since June, rising oil prices have driven up cold chain logistics fees by 20% to 30% depending on the state. And just like that, the entire burden, a domino effect, lands on something as seemingly simple as a bottle of juice. Dollar General, once hailed as the temple of savings, now finds itself in a bind. It can't hold prices down forever and survive. But raising them leaves loyal customers feeling betrayed. One unexpected outcome: long-time shoppers. Those who once believed buying at DG is how you protect your wallet are now drifting back to Walmart, Kroger, or even Amazon Fresh to get their juice. Not because those stores are cheaper, but because Dollar General no longer feels like the bargain it used to be. They're comparing every cent, every ounce. And when they realize DG isn't the trusty value stop it once was, something deeper breaks than just a budget. It's trust. One social media user even posted a side-by-side photo A $5.99 juice from DG next to a $6.49 bottle from Kroger, with the caption, "I drove 6 more minutes to save exactly 50 cents. But at least I wasn't lied to that DG was still cheap. This isn't just about a juice bottle. It's about the moment trust in the last affordable place came crashing down. Have you ever seen a once overlooked product cause so much shock just by going up in price? Number 5. Packaged bread and instant noodles. There's a subtler signal than rising coffee or juice prices when survival staples like packaged bread and instant noodles nearly double in price at Dollar General. But no one screams. Instead, people go quiet and begin adjusting their meals. A 24-slice loaf of sandwich bread, unbuttered, no frills, used to sell for $1.89 at many Dollar General locations across the Midwest. It was a convenient fallback for working parents, early rising seniors, or rushed kids. But from April to July this year, that same loaf has been reported at $3.49, sometimes even $3.79. That's an 85% to 100% jump, with no matching discounts or promotions in sight. Instant noodles imported from Canada or Mexico, once sold for 99 cents per pack, are now climbing to $1.89 or more. With items as small as bread or noodles, people might not notice at first, but after a few weeks, when the total budget hasn't changed, they start counting slices just to make sure breakfast doesn't exceed $7. The biggest frustration isn't just the cost increase, it's the knowledge that they're eating the exact same thing. Same portion, sometimes even less, and still getting squeezed. It's the moment they thought they were budgeting smart, only to realize they were quietly being charged more for less. A retired woman shared on Reddit that she used to buy 5 packs of noodles to stock up. Cheap and convenient. But now she only buys 2 because of the price hike. She suddenly realized, I have to choose between ramen and my monthly medications. Unlike coffee or juice, noodles and bread are staples. Cutting back isn't just about saving money anymore. It's about trading off daily nourishment. The cause isn't just imports. Wheat flour packaging, container fees, all are under pressure. And recent U.S. policy changes have introduced new tariffs on starch-based imports from Canada, forcing suppliers to recalculate prices on Dollar General's behalf. The changes go beyond price. Customers report that DG Essentials classic sandwich bread feels lighter, doughier, and less substantial. Sometimes a slice is missing, or the end pieces are crumbled. For instant noodles, some DG Bounty noodle bowls have reportedly reduced seasoning packets or diluted flavors. It's no longer about saving 50 cents today. It's about how every breakfast now comes with serious economic math. I buy less, which means I eat less. If I eat less, that means I live with less. And if I live with less, that affects my long-term health. Dollar General once promised that you could live simply and still feel whole. But when even the humblest foods can't hold the line on price, that promise starts to crack. Loyal shoppers, who chose DG for its simplicity, now find themselves pulled into a financial fight with no clear alternative. Have you ever bought packaged bread to tide you over on a busy day, or reached for ramen on a late night? When you open the fridge and see that loaf of bread or pack of noodles, do you still think the price feels fair? Have you noticed your grocery bill isn't just a money thing anymore, but a feeling that convenience is slipping away? If you've ever had to put back 1 pack of noodles just to keep your morning coffee, then, this isn't just about prices. This is the story of people trying to hang on to the pieces of everyday life. Dollar General used to be the financial refuge for millions of American families, especially when every other retailer was pushing prices sky high. But now this very chain has become the clearest symbol of an America buckling under tariffs and runaway inflation. From canned goods, coffee, imported spices, to juice and bread, prices are rising quietly, but relentlessly. These aren't just pennies. Each hike cuts into the already fragile budgets of working families, retirees, and those living on assistance. And the real danger isn't the number printed on the shelf. It's that consumers are beginning to lose faith in the last option. They feel abandoned in a trade war they never started yet, are forced to pay for every single day. If you're one of the many noticing that your Dollar General receipt no longer breathes as easy, maybe it's time we start speaking up.
This video does not promote division within the United States or encourage segregation. All content is presented for the purpose of exploration, analysis, and fostering discussion based on current events, public sentiment, and social trends. We fully respect the United States Constitution and all federal regulations. If today's analysis made you think, drop a comment so we can keep the conversations going. And don't forget to like, subscribe and hit the bell so you will never miss our next independent deep dive.